Welcome to the New World Order.
In this new administration is trying to drain the swamp, and that's going to begin by getting these federal bureaucrats who have abused their power. They're unelected. They've not been held accountable. No one's overseen them. There are no checks and balances, and bring them in and try to get them at the very least terminated, and try to get reforms in place to where this can never happen again, and the American people can begin to have confidence in their government agencies again.
Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in. Today we are going to go into a little bit of a government accountability, maybe possibly for maybe a change. And I only say that maybe because we're not going to step on a pile of crap. We've watched the past 4 years with committees and hearings and evidentiary things that just never seem to pan out. It's almost like they're just kind of just tossing the ball around, like playing the field, I guess, or just kabuki theater, I guess you would call it. But you've also got to understand too, and I'm going to show you James Comey's video, James Comey talking in this video, and do a little explaining along the way, so stick around. But real quick, let me address what my opinion is in the situation. We haven't had a really up-and-up Department of Justice. We haven't had a really up-and-up presidential person. Seems like there was an installation that occurred in 2020. If you've been here, you know. All right, real quickly, what's going to happen is he's going to say, for some reason it looks like there's been some evidence that's been withheld, pictures that have been withheld, people working behind the scenes to kind of like hide what we've all been talking about. And basically, too, what was proven in a lot of the laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop that was released. And so James Comey's going to talk to this Fox News journalist, commentator, whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, so let's go into this real quick, and we'll do some explaining.
Yeah, most people, I think, don't realize that, or at least the allegation is that Joe Biden was using a pseudonym, as you talked about, a fake name, to be able to communicate, which violates and bypasses the Federal Records Act.
The big guy, 10% for the big guy, right? Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see who and how that was all communicated with. And when you don't show up at the White House and you work out of your residence at home, again, you get to bypass a lot of traditional things that are embedded in the law.
So to me, in my opinion, I think that actually falls back in line with Biden going to his personal residence in Delaware every weekend. Every weekend he would go home. Does anybody remember that during the installed presidency of the Biden regime? He would go home, and for some reason he was like, oh, he's going home to rest, or he's going home to do this every weekend, or dang near every weekend he would go home. So that puts him outside. And by the way, let's look back on no logs. When he goes home, there's no presidential logs of who's coming in, who's staying, who's leaving, who's there. And then, you had that one place that Hunter was renting that had boxes of classified documents that could not be, we couldn't, that Robert Hur guy, that one dude that's supposed to be the special prosecutor looking into Biden's classified document scandal, and said, well, he's just so feeble, we can't go after him for this. It's kind of like, And then the Penn State University scandal with all the classified documents they found there. Anyhow.
But you talk generally about waste and fraud and abuse, and look, you do yeoman's work in highlighting this, but give us some highlights, give us an idea of where those priorities are, because, it's laudatory to be able to talk about, oh, hey, we're going to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, but what specifically can you get at?
Well, one of the big areas of waste and abuse in the federal government are fraudulent payments. Our information technology systems in the federal government are 1980s technologies. They're very susceptible to being hacked, and they're being hacked by foreign actors. And it's not just the unemployment insurance funds. It's not just the COVID money. There are SBA loans. There are so many grants within the federal government where fraudulent payments are going on. In Medicare, Medicaid, people are being paid fraudulently.
Who benefits from those fraudulent payments? Who gets to reap the rewards of that kind of money? And recent documents have came out about how the Act Blue was pretty much just a way for the Chinese to launder money right back to the Democrat Party to ensure that their power structure exists, because with that, it enabled them the ability to operate, because you sort of scratch your back, you scratch my back, and then we scratch each other's butts, and then next thing you know, we kind of like get into some other weird stuff with plungers, and I don't even want to go there when it comes to the Democrat Party. But the deal is like, it just looks to me like all these extra payments that are going out in these hacks, they say that they're foreign actors doing that. Well, in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't some coming from our own side. That our country will pay other countries like Australia and other things to do some of the necessary work, because it's illegal for our own country to hack into our own stuff. So when it comes to some of the spying that's been done outside of what the Patriot Act allows them to do, they typically will outsource it to other technical entities outside of the country. And there's a good chance that the infrastructure that Comey's talking about when it comes to our archaic computers, like, say, for instance, our Social Security system that's still running off of a Commodore 128. Yeah, I know, right? They actually they did upgrade from the 64 and went to the 128. And they are running I think they're running a 9600 baud modem, something like that. Anyhow, yeah, that all needs to be dealt with. Something has to happen with that. That needs to be a thing that's addressed. And there's a good reason why that I've actually started understanding why Trump wanted to raise the debt ceiling a little bit, to put money into that infrastructure to secure it, which then, in a sense, would actually save us money in the end, because they're in a functioning business. At times when it's necessary to improve infrastructure, you've got to spend a little bit of money for that return to come back, and usually it's 2 times. And there's more security involved. That makes us a stronger country. So anyhow, we'll finish this out real quick.
One of the things that Musk and Ramaswamy want to do that hasn't gotten much attention, but I think they would know as much about as anybody, is updating the technology, modernizing the technology to prevent fraud. I mean, fraudulent payments go out every day in the federal government, and our government isn't equipped to be able to go after them, especially if they're from fake accounts in African countries or in European countries. There's no mechanism in place to go back and claw that money back and hold people accountable. So at the very least, we need to fix our technology. And we've never had anyone take the initiative to do that in the federal government. And that's one of the things that DOJ wants to do, and hopefully our committee will work with.
So like I say, will we see arrests? Maybe, probably not. Just because of the fact that Biden is probably, or his regime has went in there and pardoned enough people and clemencized enough people to where they can probably shield a lot of this from happening. But who's to say? Right now, to be honest with you, in my opinion, the first 100 days of Trump's presidency needs to be focused on the economy. Deporting illegal immigration people, and focusing on that. That first 100 days needs to be the most successful part. And then once you move forward with that, things can kind of fall into place. If you get tripped up and start focusing on the wrong, priorities right off the gate, you can really stumble and fall on your face. So those 2 things, infrastructure, or economy, infrastructure, and illegal immigration, those 2 things, first 100 days, knock that out, and then worry about the rest, because things have been so corrupt that we've actually got to start from the root of this tree, where it's rotting at, to work its way up. You can't you chop the top of the tree off, typically more kind of pop up around the stump. So we've got to dig the stump up. Anyhow, I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And I also want to wave a big special hand to all the new subscribers. Guys, thank you very much for the support, and all the wonderful people who've been here since day one. I see you in the comment sections and the lives we do. See you guys later. Thank you very much. I'm out.
Joe always shits his diaper before dinner, always. I'm getting tired of wiping his ass. Joe does a number 2 and it goes up his back and gets everywhere and then runs down his leg. I was the babysitter when Joe met me, but I didn't think I'd be his babysitter at this point in my life. I knew Joe would be a shitty president, just not this shitty.
Who left the TV on? I got it.